Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Business Idea Insight YouTube channel. If you haven't met me, I'm Mike, founder of businessideainsight.com, an online resource developed to help you, the new and aspiring entrepreneur, think of, create, and develop a side business that you can launch. So in today's video, I want to go over a common question I get from both you guys on YouTube as well as my email subscribers. And it's, how do I choose the right business idea? And this is a question a lot of you guys have, and a lot of you guys send me as well. And it's one of the largest questions I faced that held me back from starting a business for years. You see, once you are able to develop business ideas and spot the business opportunities in the marketplace, you'll start developing your list. But once you have that list, where do you go? And how do you narrow down that list? How do you know what one to choose and what one to move forward with? These can be important questions you're asking yourself, as you could be spending money and time down the road investing in this idea. So you want to make sure you choose the right one. Well, in today's video, I'm going to go over why choosing the right business idea is important, as many entrepreneurs discredit this idea, as well as how you can choose the right business idea for yourself, and some personal assessments I've developed to do that, and how you can put that into practice so you can finally move forward in your entrepreneurial journey. So first, I want to start with why choosing the right business idea is important. There are many successful entrepreneurs out there that actually discredit this process and say that you should just choose any random idea and run with it. However, I think they're wrong, and I don't think you should follow that path, especially if this is the first business idea you're launching. And the first reason for that is that your passion is important. It's important you choose a business idea you're passionate about. And if you just choose any random idea you've written down, there could be a chance you're not even passionate about solving that problem or building that solution in the first place. So how are you going to get through those periods when you're not making any money, when times get tough, or when you're having a hard time getting new clients? If you're not passionate about the idea you're going to be building and the company you're going to be building, how do you expect to work those long hours to reach success? As starting a business isn't easy, as we all know. So make sure you're passionate about the idea. And it's one reason why you should spend time choosing the right idea. You need to be passionate about it. The second reason why choosing the right business idea is important to spend time on now is that you need a unique idea that's differentiated from the marketplace. Now, if you only spend 5-10 minutes thinking of a business idea and then just running with it, there could be a good chance that you haven't spent the time to make sure your idea is unique enough from its competition. If you don't have a unique differentiator, a key aspect of the business that tells customers and competitors how you're different, how do you expect to survive? And how do you expect to stand out, even especially if you enter a crowded marketplace such as the makeup industry? You need to be able to differentiate, and spending time and choosing the right business idea can allow you to do that. And the third and final reason I'm going to cover why spending time on choosing the right business idea is important is that you want to choose an idea that you can actually launch. I see so many aspiring entrepreneurs out there, they've chosen an idea that they can't launch themselves. They either don't require the skills to get some of the key activities and tasks done in the business, or they don't have the resources such as the time and money to even develop a prototype and to launch the business. So many new and aspiring entrepreneurs will take to Twitter or other social media asking famous entrepreneurs like Gary Vaynerchuk and Elon Musk and Richard Branson for investment, just for their business idea. And I've seen people waste years on this. I've chatted with people back in 2017 about helping them develop a business idea that they can launch themselves, because I saw them asking entrepreneurs like Gary Vaynerchuk to invest in their idea when they didn't even have a prototype. And to this day, still some people are still asking that question, and they've wasted way too much time on that. Instead, they should have taken the time and chose an idea they can launch with the own money they have in the bank, without looking for outside investment. That way you can keep a larger equity stake, and you can also move forward in your entrepreneurial journey. There's nothing inhibiting you from doing that. So that's why it's important you spend time. And so now, I want to move on to how you can do that. And we're going to begin by doing some assessments. So how do you choose the right business idea for you? Well, it begins by going over some assessments I've developed, and then we're going to use those assessments to narrow down that list of business ideas, and so we can ultimately and hopefully choose one that you can move forward with. So the first assessment I developed is called the personal assessment. And this is going to assess who you are as an entrepreneur, who you are as a person, what your passions are, and really what do you find meaningful in life. So we can make sure you choose a business idea you find meaning in. There's nothing worse than building up a business and solving a solution that down the road you're not even going to care about. So the personal assessment will help that. So to get started, there's a few questions you can ask yourself. 1. What do you find meaningful in life? 2. What do you find as your own passions? What do you love to do every day? Even if money wasn't an option, what would you choose to be doing? Then the third question is, what do you find meaningful? What do you love and what do you find passionate about? What would get you jumping out of bed at 4:30 a.m. every single day, even on Saturday and Sunday? You want to write that down because that's going to really help you with the passion and assessing what business idea you should move forward with. You see, if you choose a business idea where you're passionate about to jump out of bed at 4:30 in the morning every day, you're going to have no problem getting that work done and building it to something that will be a success. The second assessment I've developed for you is called the resources assessment. Now, the resources assessment is designed to account for your network, the available resources you personally have to start a business, such as your time, your money, maybe any free resources available in your city for new and aspiring entrepreneurs, such as access to co-working spaces, maybe even loans or grants, or even mentorship programs. So I want you to ask yourself, what skills do you have? As this is a key resource you can bring to the market. Next, how much time do you have to put towards your business? Are you working full-time and you only have a few hours a day and maybe only one day on the weekend? Do you have a part-time job or are you a stay-at-home parent? How much time do you have to put towards your idea? This will ultimately help narrow down the list, as some ideas may require us to be working during the 9 to 5 hours to build that clientele, whereas others may not and may suit us more if we were working full-time. So I want you to ask yourself that. Lastly, how much money do you have to put towards this business? I touched on this before, and it's a huge inhibitor to new entrepreneurs. It's money. So make sure the amount of money you have matches up with the amount of initial investment you'll need for your business idea. There's no point in looking to start a business if it's going to cost $100,000 and you only have $5,000. You could spend a lot of time looking for investors when I really think you should just choose to grow your business organically and choose an idea that matches the amount of money you have. Down the road, after you're an entrepreneurial success, you can start those ideas that require more investment capital. But for now, I want you to do the resources assessment so you can choose an idea you can actually launch. Now, the last assessment I want to go over today is the strengths assessment. Ultimately, it's just like what it sounds. This is going to help you assess your strengths. What are you good at? What are you great at? What do you excel in? What are you better at than other people? So write down your strengths. What do you think your strengths are? Where do you think you're better than your friends and family at? You know, for this one, you can also get your friends and family involved. Ask them what do they think they see as your key strengths and your core strengths. They may be able to identify things that you don't see yourself, as sometimes that kind of reflection is a bit hard to do. Another question you can ask yourself is, what qualities can I not do without in my life? What am I so good at and what do I like doing that I could not do without these kind of strengths? For example, I have analytical qualities that I could not do without. It helps me gather and create information that is providing value to you guys. And without the ability to analyze some of the market trends and market research that I read, I would not be able to distill it into something that's easy to follow, like an exercise or a guide that you guys can use. So what qualities could you not do without in your life? And what qualities do you love about yourself? So I want you to take some time and go through these assessments. And make sure you answer all these questions. It's really going to help when we move on to the next step here of using those assessment answers to narrow down our list. And if you're feeling stuck, you can use the Finding the Fit ebook. I've included a link in the description below, but this is an original ebook I've made for you guys that includes more assessments and a lot more questions in that book that will help you understand who you are as an entrepreneur and what kind of ideas you should run with. So if you're still feeling stuck, I recommend checking out that book. Otherwise, let's move on to step 2 here. So in step 2 here, we're going to use those personal assessments we covered, and we're going to use that to narrow down our list of business ideas. So we're going to begin with the personal assessment. Take your list and see what business ideas you're not passionate about. and cross them out. This should eliminate a few of ideas off your list. Are there any ideas in that list that will require you to do tasks that don't complement your passions? For example, if you're not passionate about computers, then you should cross off those ideas that require a significant amount of time for you to invest in computer work. I know you could hire someone to do this, but that's not the point of this exercise. We're wanting to develop a business idea that's right for us and for us to launch. So if you're not passionate about it, cross it off. So now that we've gone through that assessment, we're going to move on to the resources assessment. So now take your new list of business ideas, the ones that haven't been crossed off, and see where you wouldn't have enough time to start it. For example, if I was going to start a business where I needed to contact a lot of business owners during the hours of 9 to 5, that wouldn't necessarily work for me, as I still do have a full-time job, and those hours are committed to my employer and not for running my side business. So what resources don't have that you can eliminate business ideas with? Another question you answered was, how much money do you have to start the business? Now, if you notice any ideas on the list that require a significant amount more money than you actually have, you can begin to cross those off as well. Using the resources assessment, we can eliminate more business ideas that don't match up with our skills. Are there ideas here where you're going to be doing the day-to-day that don't match your skills? For example, if you're a computer programmer and one of the business ideas on that list involves a lot of direct selling, something you're not very good at and it's not your strength or your skill, well then you can cross that off the list. And lastly, using the strengths assessment, I want you to go through that final list of ideas you have that have not been crossed off and see what ideas are there that complement your strengths. You'll want to select those business ideas where we can move on to potentially validating them. So if you've gone through all 3 of these assessments, you've learned about yourself, and you've gone through the list of business ideas, eliminating the ones that you're not passionate about, that you don't have enough money, time, or resources to start, and ones that don't complement your strengths, you're on the road to choosing the right business idea that's right for you. So you should now be left with only a small list of ideas from that large list. And you should be less intimidated now about choosing the right business idea for you. But as a bonus, guys, I want to give you one more tip for narrowing down that small list. And it's called the basic cost and revenue analysis. Now, this is way easier than it sounds. I know this has a lot of business mumbo jumbo with cost and revenue in there, but it's quite easy. So you want to first begin by taking one idea from that handful that you've created. And you're going to list out the large costs associated with that idea. You're also going to list out all the potential revenue sources. So for instance, if it was a mobile app, revenue sources could include ads, it could include in-app purchases, it could include purchasing the app to even use it outright in the beginning. For costs, it could include development of the app, management of the app, maybe any compliance and regulations that need to follow, etc. If you do this for each of the business ideas you have left, you'll see where there's business ideas that have higher costs and lower potential revenue streams. Those are other ideas you want to eliminate. Then you should be left with some ideas that fit your life and the amount of investment that you need for your startup costs with the cost structure, as well as ideas that have that high potential for many revenue streams. And this is what we're looking for. An idea we're passionate about, we can launch, complements our strengths, has potential to make money in the marketplace, and is an idea we can launch with the startup costs we have. Now, I know other entrepreneurs out there say you should just choose an idea and run with it to start your journey, but like the reasons I mentioned earlier, I really think it's important you spend the time. So I hope you can use those assessments we went over and use those assessments to narrow down that list. And finally, if you're left with a handful of business ideas you're still not sure you should run with, well, you can use the cost and revenue analysis we went over to choose that final one you think is going to be good to validate in the marketplace. And if you have questions about how to choose the right idea for you, make sure you comment them below, and I'll make sure to answer your question. So that's it, and I'll see you guys next time.